Hello, everyone. Today we learn the success story of famous brand Louis Vuitton. In a small village in eastern France in the year 1821, a boy named Louis was born into a modest household where every coin mattered and every dream seemed just out of reach. His father, a miller, and his mother, a seamstress, worked tirelessly to keep food on the table, but the world beyond their humble home felt like a distant horizon. Yet, from an early age, young Louis carried within him a restless spirit, a yearning to explore, to create, to defy the limitations of circumstance. He would sit by the fireplace at night, watching embers dance, envisioning shapes and patterns that might one day carry his name to the widest corners of the earth. At the tender age of 16, driven by both necessity and ambition, Louis set off on foot to Paris, the beating heart of culture and commerce. It was a journey of nearly 300 miles along dusty roads that stretched like ribbons beneath the sky, with nothing but a small sack of belongings and a head full of hope. He drifted from one workshop to another, offering himself as an apprentice, eager to learn the art of trunk making. The great coachmakers and boxmakers paid little heed to the lowly country lad until he demonstrated a singular talent for precision, for painstaking care in every stitch and joint. Inside a dimly lit atelier on Rue Neuve des Capucines, Louis found his calling. Under the stern yet watchful eye of Monsieur Maréchal, a master packer, he discovered the alchemy of transforming simple canvas and wood into vessels capable of safeguarding the most treasured possessions. He absorbed every nuance of the craft, how to treat the hides so they would resist water, how to fashion flat-topped cases that could be stacked without toppling, and how to infuse each piece with both strength and elegance. His fingers learned to caress the tools with an almost poetic tenderness, coaxing them into shapes that seemed to whisper of distant journeys and hidden adventures. By his mid-20s, Louis had risen to the position of head designer, an achievement that spoke volumes of his dedication and raw ingenuity. Yet even as accolades arrived, he felt the stirrings of restless creativity. The traditional rounded-top trunks that dominated the market were cumbersome and prone to toppling when loaded onto carriages or ship decks. Observing this flaw, Louis sketched a design for a flat rectangular trunk, reinforced at the corners with nailed-on metal brackets. It was a bold departure from the norm, a singular vision of practicality fused with timeless beauty. In a small village in eastern France in the year 1821, a boy named Louis was born into a modest household where every coin mattered and every dream seemed just out of reach. When he unveiled his prototype in 1854, the reaction was nothing short of electric. Travelers and merchants flocked to his small workshop, drawn by whispers of a trunk that could bear the rigors of international voyages. Louis fashioned each case from lightweight poplar strips covered in durable canvas, adorned with a discreet pattern of stripes that he had personally conceptualized. The devices were waterproof, stackable, and, perhaps most importantly, immediately recognizable. It was the dawn of a brand, conceived not merely in the imagination of a dreamer, but forged in the crucible of necessity and guided by the unwavering pursuit of perfection. In 1859, Louis took the boldest step of his career. He opened his own boutique on the prestigious Rue Neuve des Capucines, under the sign Louis Vuitton, Maletier. There, amid the hustle of horse-drawn carriages and the chatter of well-heeled Parisians, he invited the world to witness his philosophy of artistry in motion. Each trunk bore a pledge of quality, a promise that its owner could depart from the familiar and yet feel cradled by the craftsmanship of a master artisan. The shop became a pilgrimage site for explorers, diplomats, and artists, anyone who sought to carry their world with them without fear or compromise. But the path to greatness was never without its shadows. In 1867, a devastating fire ripped through a neighboring building, engulfing Louis's workshop in flames. For a moment, it seemed that all his painstaking efforts would be reduced to ash and sorrow. Yet as dawn broke over the smoldering ruins, Louis vowed to rebuild, stronger and more resolute than before. With help from loyal employees and supporters, he salvaged what remained of his designs and reopened within months, unveiling improvements that spoke to lessons learned. Even in catastrophe, there lies opportunity for reinvention. Throughout the latter half of the 19th century, Louis Vuitton became synonymous with travel in the golden age of steamships and railways. The brand introduced custom monogram trunks, personalized for each client, and began experimenting with leather goods, handbags, purses, and small travel accessories that carried the same DNA of resilience and refinement. When Louis passed the helm to his son, Georges, in 1892, he left behind more than a thriving enterprise. He left a legacy of vision, of unflinching belief that form should follow function, and that true luxury is born from quiet confidence in quality. Georges Vuitton, inheriting both the craft and the ambition, faced a new challenge in 1896. A wave of counterfeiters drawn by the monogram's rapid ascent threatened to dilute its exclusivity. To protect the brand's integrity, Georges unveiled the iconic LV monogram canvas, an interlocking symphony of flowers, quatrefoils, and the founder's initials, punctuated by rich colors that spoke of both tradition and innovation. It was a masterstroke of design and marketing alike, a pattern so distinctive that any imitator would be easily unmasked. In doing so, Louis Vuitton affirmed that authenticity and creativity are twin pillars of success. As the decades unfurled, the house weathered wars, economic upheavals, and shifting tastes. During World War I, trunks were repurposed for military use, carrying uniforms and rations to the front lines. In the Roaring '20s, the brand captured the spirit of the Jazz Age, crafting glamorous luggage sets that grace the cabins of Orient Express trains. Through the lean years of the Great Depression, Vuitton's steadfast commitment to artisanship kept its discerning clientele loyal. Each chapter in the company's history was written in the language of adaptation, an unspoken promise that no matter how the world changed, the core values of innovation, excellence, and respect for tradition would endure. The arrival of the post-war era ushered in fresh challenges and opportunities. Under the stewardship of successive generations, Vuitton expanded beyond luggage into ready-to-wear jewelry and fragrance. By the late 20th century, the company had joined forces with Moet et Chandon and Hennessy to form the LVMH conglomerate, a testament to Vuitton's towering influence in the luxury sphere. Yet even as the enterprise ballooned into a global powerhouse, the original ethos remained intact. Each stitch, each clasp, each stitch of leather still bore the imprint of a singular pursuit of perfection. Perhaps the most astonishing chapter unfolded in the past 3 decades, when Louis Vuitton embraced collaborations with boundary-pushing artists and designers, Takashi Murakami, Jeff Koons, and Virgil Abloh among them, each bringing fresh narratives to the storied monogram. These limited edition collections sold out in mere hours as a new generation of aficionados recognized the house not only as a symbol of heritage, but as a canvas for artistic exploration. Simultaneously, the brand soared into the digital era, pioneering luxury e-commerce platforms and crafting immersive pop-up experiences that blurred the lines between fashion, art, and technology. Today, as you walk into a Louis Vuitton store, anywhere from Tokyo's neon-lit streets to New York's bustling avenues, you step into a living museum of ingenuity. The grand atrium displays flagship trunks next to futuristic luggage equipped with GPS trackers. Mannequins don bespoke ready-to-wear atop leather handbags that redefine everyday luxury. Yet, beneath the glittering surface, the beating heart of the maison remains the same. A reverence for craftsmanship born in a modest workshop, a defiant belief that dreams can be chiseled into reality, and a conviction that excellence, no matter how small the detail, can change the world. For young dreamers and aspiring entrepreneurs, the Louis Vuitton saga offers more than a chronicle of commercial triumph. It teaches that adversity can be a crucible for creativity, that innovation arises when one questions the status quo, and that integrity, upheld even when no one is watching, becomes the cornerstone of a legacy. It shows us that success is not a sudden ascent, but a long voyage marked by countless miles walked, lessons learned, and flames survived. Above all, it illuminates a simple truth. A single person armed with passion and purpose can transform humble materials into icons that endure across centuries.